Hi, my name is Kyle Butenhoff, writer-director of Laced, and you are listening to Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do.
Hi, I'm Dana Mackin, and you're listening to Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do.
Hi, my name is Matt Ramey, and you're listening to Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do.
It's a show by Chris and Neil with all great movies. They are the real deal. We watch them all, so you don't have to. It's movies that don't suck and some that do.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, this is Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do. My name's Neil.
And I'm Chris.
And guys, today we are still continuing our road of coverage, the road of horror movies, thriller movies, everything we can from one of the biggest film festivals of the year for us, Panic Film Fest, that is right there in North Kansas City. Now, Chris has been basically living there. He has a tent there, a sleeping bag. Maybe he has spawned 4 kids.
Adam's been telling me to leave, so
they're they're hosing him off the sidewalk. Now, if you don't know, the Panic Film Festival is held at the Screenland Armor, which is in North Kansas City, right across the river from downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Literally one of the coolest movie theaters you go into. And guys, if you can't make it to the film festival, which is every mid-April in Kansas City, then you guys can follow on at panicfilmfest.com. That's panicfilmfest.com, where they have a virtual tour. They have everything that's going on. You can buy tickets to watch movies that they have in their theater, and you literally get like this 8-bit game that you will go around in that's like The Sims, if The Sims was on Nintendo, and about horror movies.
It's isometric view, so it's from above, and it's really cool. Like I've walked through there several times and playing games on there. I got lost in It's Cave.
Yeah, it's awesome, guys, and definitely if you get a chance, go to panicfilmfest.com to go around, find out what it's all about, see if you can catch next year's, see if you can catch some of the films or get some of the ideas of films that are going to be out there for you to watch, because believe me, they've had a slew of them this year. Everything from Reinfeld to even the movie that we're going to talk about today, which is Laced.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, and at the end of it, we have a great interview with the people from the Made Laced, so stick around for that. You can check out our information.
No, maybe give information about. What? Well, you're right, because we don't normally do it like this, so we don't know what to do. All right, so, Chris, where can they find us?
Find us on moviesdon'tsuck.net. We're at w2mnet.com. The w2mnet.com. You can find our podcast there along with tons of other podcasts. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/moviesdon'tsuck. /moviesdon'tsuck podcast. We're on Twitter at MTS Podcast. We're on Instagram at MTS Podcast. Go to patreon.com/moviesdon'tsuck if you guys want to throw us some money. Also on the top left-hand side of the screen if you're watching this on the video. And if you're if you guys want shirts, like a Movies Don't Suck shirt, go to bonfire.com. Search Movies Don't Suck and something you'll find out there on some of the cool shit that Neil's made. And if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe, watch on Facebook, go and like that page. And wherever you find podcasts, you find Movies That Don't Suck and some that do.
Guys, if you have a small business, just let us know. Give us the information. Just email us, message us, and tell us in person. Give us a business card. We're more than happy to help you and your small business out free of charge. So literally, just give us the information we can give you to our thousands of followers or millions of listeners. 100%, you can do that. We'll be more than happy to. But today, we are now deep diving again into another movie from the Panic Film Festival. Chris, tell us all about it.
We're talking about the movie Laced, directed by Kyle Butenhoff, starring Kyle, Hermione Lynch as Dana Mackin as Molly, and Zach Tinker as Austin. That's really the main cast, 4 people. Why don't you read the storyline for this?
Okay, cool. In an unpersistent snowstorm, a wife's plans to kill her abusive husband begin to unravel.
Yeah, so this is like a thriller.
This is the best way you said it best when writing up questions for the people. Like this is very Hitchcock.
Yeah,
this
very
is
Hitchcock.
very Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
This is very what you think one thing's coming and it's the other way.
Yeah,
like
it's a chamber piece, so it takes place in one place mostly, like 3 or 4 rooms of a house. And like with that, when having such a small space, it forces filmmakers to get creative. And we got a lot of creativity in this movie.
yes, a lot of creativity. And to be honest, we are just this movie. Okay, one, Kyle. Now, me and Chris, if you listen to the show in the past, I have always have this theory where someone who plays a villain, a bad guy, or even it doesn't matter if they're in pro wrestling or on movies.
Yeah.
My number one thing is if they are a major asshole on film, on screen, then in real life they are super sweetheart.
Yeah,
and
that's how
we get that question answered in the interview. So make sure to keep forward for that.
I mean, you always tell the story about Andre the Giant when you were a kid, how he picked you up for your balls. Is that not the guy?
And he was a bad guy at the time. He was a villain at the time. Yeah. Kyle and Dana were 100% awesome people to talk to,
And they were great actors too. Like they were great in this.
They really played their parts well in this movie. Dana, Molly, the main character, is going through this should she to try to kill her husband by making this shepherd's pie, which she's going to lace with drugs, and that's why the movie's called
it's the very beginning.
It's the very beginning. I'm not spoiling anything. That's not what the turmoil of this picture is.
Oh no.
But it's got me thinking I shouldn't eat less shepherd pies. But Kyle, like, oh my gosh, one, he plays a complete asshole in this movie. And he should be, because he's a Denver Broncos fan, and we all know Denver Broncos fans are assholes. Like they're the best. It's like, no,
and then
they're the best for one season once with Peyton Manning. Like, John Elway doesn't even count anymore.
Yeah, and Hermione and Zach, fantastic at these characters as Victoria and Austin. They were amazing. All the actors in this are top notch, really.
Yeah, this is a very not superstitious, but suspenseful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's suspense. Yeah, definitely
it's suspense movie, because you want to know, is people going to find out? Is things going to go right? Is what's going to happen? Like is he going to die? Is he not going to die? Like there's every single corner of this film has you on edge, because you don't know if the thing you want to happen is going to happen, or if it's going to be completely,
I was surprised all around at some of the things that happened. I'm like, holy shit! I first said it out loud in the theater when I saw this. Just like, holy fucking, in the theater, like it's a small one. It's the theater too. It's Trinidad, so it's like 40 people. And you hear everyone collectively gasp. Everyone be like, "Oh fuck!" Like at the same time. It was really cool to see this in theaters, and I'm sure you were at home. You're like, "Oh shit!" Like, I know it surprised you at points too, right?
Oh yeah, by any means. I was actually in this very room right now that I'm in, because my monitors. I got a pretty good sized monitor here, and it's great to with these soundproof. So therefore, I don't hear everything in the world going on. But yeah, there's many times in this film where like, oh shit, no, no. The characters played off of each other really well. Now, the two main characters, Kyle or Charlie and Molly, who are played by Kyle and Dana, you could tell they've played with each other before. There's a wonderful musical called Quarantine the Musical that they did. That was a slap comedy, serious, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you say because it was comedy that brought a serious.
Was it dramedy?
I don't know if it was a dramedy. Okay. It was more of a comedy. And at the end, they're like, "Hey, I know we all got a laugh from this, but people die because of it." You know, it's like, oh yeah, you just brought it back.
But
to
yeah,
realization.
there was chemistry between Charlie and Molly, Zach, and Molly and Victoria. Like chemistry all around. Like they had the best people to work with them because it was just it was tight. The script was tight, but it also felt very natural. The speaking, you know, like a lot of times you'll see something like if you still watch a Lifetime movie, you're like, God, this is so sloggy. But this is the complete opposite. That the dialogue was snappy and popped, but it was also very natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like at any time, this not just the natural way to talk, but like I feel like Zach Tinker and Dana, they played brother and sister in this.
I believe
it was. Yeah, I believed it. I believe that they were brother and sister. They talked to each other like a brother and sister do. I mean, how do you talk to your sister?
I mean, I talk to my sister seldomly, but when I do, I talk to her like you know, I call her by, you know, her short name, and and I fuck around with her. We have fun, but yeah,
Right.
like yeah, Dana and Zach, and Molly and Austin felt like brother and sister.
I felt like they picked on each other well. They did the thing. The looming over darkness of this film is just like there's just such a like a dark complexion to this film.
Just dread.
You're like, yeah, it gets to the point where you're kind of like, man, I kind of feel bad.
Yeah.
That I'm rooting for the bad guy here. And so like.
But even then, it's sort of like, who is the bad guy too? They sort of make you question like the motivations of everyone and what you would do in this situation. Which is you want a movie that's gonna sort of test you, you know, and this and Lace does that.
And that's the thing about like this movie is like it is one of those that afterwards, at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, okay, maybe I'm not a good guy for liking the way this turned out or the way this is going to turn out.
Yeah.
But man, it is what it is. So let's get some quotes and we'll give our rating on this thing.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's see how if I'm on the right page first. Give me a second. Because I watched it after Renfield. All right, cool. What's going on?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, I'm giving quotes.
Sorry.
Right. Burn a candle when it's done. I want you to know I love you. Oh, is that for me or is your boyfriend coming around? What are we having for dinner? Shepherd's pie. What the fuck, Jesus? Call that asshole. Nobody's happy all the time. Show me someone who's happy 24/7, and I will show you someone ready for a straitjacket. Sometimes I think I'm happy, but then I realize that I'm just not sad.
Mm-hmm.
What is the score of the game? Because every Broncos fan has to ask that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Times because they lose constantly. I'm going to say a big scary word, but don't you worry. We are trying to help you. Flat on your back, and you still bowling the fuck out of her. Understand where you are is because I want it that way. Somehow this isn't even the worst coming out story I've ever heard. This was self-defense. Who knows what that fucker was capable of? You will never look at me the same again. You're a grown-ass woman. How do you not know how to lie yet? If this seat is good enough for Super Bowl 32, it's good enough for you. Lucky I know how to fix it. How's that? Whiskey?
I fixed a lot of things.
Yeah, he fixes lots and lots of that. He said he changed. He stopped drinking. He found God. Now, if you don't mind, I know where Chuck keeps his good bourbon. You have it wrong. That's not the saying. It's 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead.
Ooh.
Her parents really wanted a Denny's waitress. One of my favorite days of my life, and I can never go there again. Who the fuck still uses Facebook? That's it.
All right, so my score on this 4.3. It really surprised me. It was something that was I didn't expect to grip me so well, but I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. I hate that I let you go first sometimes because that's exactly the number I was going to give it.
God damn it. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah, see you later. I guess we don't get to argue about anything today.
There's no Rotten Tomatoes score in it yet, so that's just our score today.
Your face is today.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's not out yet, so there's no Rotten Tomatoes score on it. So I searched but yeah, it when this comes out, we'll definitely be shouting from the mountaintops where to find it. But Laced was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that literally, guys, that it was one of the best ones at the Panic Film Festival. By any means, you get a chance to go see this. Do tomorrow. Do it right. Do it naked. Do it butt naked, just completely butt naked. What are we talking about? Where did I go off? I'm on a tangent now.
Yeah, we're on tangents. We do that though. But
anyway, no, this is literally a good movie. It is Hitchcraftian, very much like Hitchcock. It is very who done it, who did it, what's going to happen kind of film.
Suspense.
Very suspenseful. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. I can't wait to see what Kyle comes up with next.
Yeah.
Like Kyle has been working. He's worked on several films. He's done everything from acted in like SWAT and Mayans and other things like that. But just to see this movie, you're going to get an idea of what his thought process is in that. But to tell you what his thought process is, it's very easy to do. All you have to do is continue to listen to this episode.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to be hearing from Kyle, you're going to hear from Dana, and you're going to hear from Matthew.
Producer.
Yeah, I'm good. You stop correcting me every 5 seconds. That's all Chris knows how to do. He's like, oh, well, man, I gotta wait. Okay, now I can correct him. But Chris, introduce the next portion of this. Then I'm done.
You can't talk anymore. Okay, so yeah, you guys stick around. We're gonna talk to Kyle Butenhoff, Dana Mackin, and Matt Ramey of the Laced, and we have a great interview with them. And stick around to hear that.
It's great. It's a great interview. We had a good time. It took so long for us to even like tell them we can't anymore.
Yeah,
we gotta go.
I had to. My lunch break was over.
Yeah. There's even a part. I don't know if he edited it out or not.
I kept it
where
in
You kept it in there. I literally tried to cut it short, or cut it off. And Chris is like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, "Dude, you're the one that told me you had to go back to work."
And I was like, "But they like me. It's okay."
they like me.
All right. Well, guys, stick around.
Stick around for the rest of this end of this episode. Have a good time, and make sure to remember, we were all drunk when we aired. No, we weren't. We were 100% sober. But it'd have been nice. All right, here you guys.
It's a show by Chris and Neil with all great movies. They are the real deal. We watch them all, so you don't have to. It's movies that don't suck and some that do.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages. It's another episode of Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do. My name is Neil.
I'm Chris, and I'm not sure we should be advertising this to all ages.
Well, you tell me to say all ages all
I did not
time,
tell you
sir.
that. All right.
You're the one that pays me the $3 a week to do this. All right. So today we are continuing our coverage of the greatest horror movie festival, I believe, in the world, Panic Film Fest, the premier horror movie film festival. Everything from Hollywood blockbusters, the first-time filmmakers can be seen there. Located at the Screen Lane Armor in North Kansas City. You can find the information at panicfilmfestival.com or Facebook/Panic Film Fest, including their virtual playground. You can go around in their 8-bit world, going around with your little meme, so you can go around and find clips, other available virtual films, and also trailers. Now, today, continuing our interview process with all the lovely creators out there at Panic Film Festival, we have got the creators of a well-received movie, not only from the Panic Film Fest people, but all across the world. Like, what was it? A bunch of nominations in Scotland International Festival of Cinema. Yes, and so today, first we have the writer, director, actor of the film. You might have caught him in SWAT, Mayans, or Netflix series Dahmer. And with him, the main star of the film, who plays Molly, the one who wants to off her abusive husband. You might have seen her as Eve in Quarantine the Musical, or even in Netflix's Girl in the Picture as Sharon. And also with them, a man who's known for writing and producing shorts like Eyes of the Beholder, A Certain Kind of Man, Savior, and a small role in one of my favorite movies of all times, Mr. Colorado Citizen and Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. And he is the executive producer of Lace. So we have Kyle Butonoff, Dana Mucken, and Matthew Ramy. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's good to have you guys on.
That was all one breath. That was all one breath.
I was going to say, that was like a whole mouthful, man. That was someone's had their coffee, man.
Yeah, Neil did it recited for you guys showed up, and I was like, "Jeez, man." But
Chris, how about
thank you guys
start?
so much for having us on.
Oh no, thanks for coming on. We're thrilled to have you on for sure. So getting into Laced, how did the idea for Laced actually start? Like when did you begin it?
So I was writing like this conspiracy thriller, and I was like 70 pages in on it, and the conspiracy was getting so thick that I had no idea what was going on. So I was ticked off. I just threw it down, went to go put on a movie, because that's what I will do when I'm like feeling some type of way. And Dial M for Murder, the classic Hitchcock movie came on. Perfect. And I was just like, oh, if we're trying to make this indie movie that for no budget, that's how we do it. We, 4 characters, isolated location, and then kind of just delving into the humanity of their choices. Now that happened around 2019. And we started sending out the script, and things were looking good. And then the pandemic happened. Yeah.
So from the beginning, it was always a chamber piece.
Yeah, it was always like the whole concept behind it was always like, what if we did a stage play and then filmed it? Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I love that you said that, the Hitchcock film that was the one that gave your inspiration, because me and Chris have actually talked in detail about how this is very, very Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, very
with a touch of Fincher, I think. But
Fincher's my favorite guy.
Yeah. So one of the main parts of the entire film itself was actually the cabin, the house that you guys used, which was just a great, because it was a character itself amongst
so gorgeous. That place, I want to live there.
How was that location discovered? Did you guys find that?
So it's a friend's cabin that we were at a New Year's Eve party there, and it was like a contained bubble New Year's Eve party because it was very much in the height of the pandemic. So we went there, and both Matt and I had been hearing about the script, been giving Kyle notes on it back and forth. Like it was kind of floating around for us. And then once we went to this cabin, 10 drinks in, we were like, do you know what would be so chill and casual and easy is making this movie if we were able to use this location. And we ended up being able to use the location. And what was so crazy and awesome about it was the fact that the crew and cast was able to stay on one floor and then we shot everything on the second floor. So it was all contained in this one space. I would say that was amazing in a lot of ways. Also, towards the end, I think it definitely pushed everyone's sanity towards the edge just a little bit.
I would be sitting up in bed in the middle of the night, just being like, "Why aren't the lights set up?"
You're sleeping on set, so yeah. I mean, we had the opportunity to go back to that cabin a couple of months ago, and we were very concerned that we would have very like PTSD
and, for sure.
And I think we befriended the cabin. Like, the cabin, we're cool, we love her. Like,
everywhere except the one room I was sleeping in. That room I walked in, I was like, no, I'm leaving.
I don't like this room.
I don't like it here.
I felt cursed.
So basically, was this all filmed during the pandemic then? It was filmed like during so this is like 2021 that
this
was
is,
most
yeah.
of this film?
2021. It was about a year or 2 years ago to the day almost. We were going up to that cabin to start rehearsals. So it was kind of like, in terms of production, it was definitely, we had to, abide by all of the kind of stricter guidelines that were in place at the time. But for us, like, we knew that we were creating our own quarantine bubble, so to speak, going up to this cabin and housing everyone there as well. So for us, it was like, we had those kind of like logistical challenges that we had to deal with unions, but it was still like a very, very contained film that we could, not really be at risk trying to do this during a pandemic.
Sure.
Yeah.
A zone, B zone, and C zone were all in the exact same place.
They're
all 20 feet away from each other.
No, the scariest part, because this was, during a time where it was still everyone was still very much on their toes about everything. And
right.
the most nervous time, in terms of that, was like the first 4 or 5 days. But once everybody was there, everybody had been tested every day. And once we were all there, it was honestly the safest I felt during that time, because we didn't go anywhere else and nobody saw anyone else. So
I almost completely forgot about it until you mentioned it. But like, literally, when we first got up to the cabin, that was like the highest pressure. To that point, because if one of the actors tested positive, we had like Colorado backups that were like kind of in mind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Our entire shoot time is 16 days. So at that time, it was a 2-week quarantine period. So if someone pops, then they're out completely.
The movie's off, basically.
And,
because like you only get 14 days to get over the COVID, and then before we can come
I've
back. So
I've had it twice now, and it's been awful each time.
Yeah,
I had it like 142 times. I just won't stop. No, I'm just kidding. No, I haven't.
I had it 4 times.
Oh wow!
I had it 4 times.
I had it 3, and I had to go do I was supposed to go do a show, and I was like, boss, sorry, you're gonna have to call on the other guy. And it just, because the next time we go do that show, the same show, the guy's like, I'm so glad you're the dude that showed up this time. But because I did find one photo, I believe this is a photo of you guys filming. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one I saw. And then one I have really weird question about. This one's to you, Dana. What the heck is going on here? Are you eating Jell-O? Are you no? I'm guessing that is blood for a certain scene. We won't say what scene, but I'm sure it has to do with the bathtub, I'm guessing.
That's the forbidden soup. Yeah, we so obviously it was for a variety of reasons. It was a skeleton crew, and I actually do have background in makeup and special effects.
Oh, nice.
So there were a lot of hats that were worn by everyone, and that was one of the hats that I put on. So the prosthetics and all the fake blood and all of that stuff. Like if somebody's dead and it looks like they're dead, I got to do all of that, which honestly was one of my favorite parts of production, because that's something I'm so safe and comfortable in doing.
Right.
That in those moments of like, oh my God, what are we doing? I've never done this before. I'm freaking out. I could just be like, I know how to do this.
So that begs the question: who cooked the shepherd's pie?
Do you know? I'm gonna be honest. It was my mom. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to Mavis. Yeah, my parents were able to come and help a little bit because they live in Colorado too. So that was, I mean, such an incredible help.
Huge.
One of the most funniest parts of this, seriously, and this is just mad coincidence. I am an Irish guy. I grew up in, Catholic area, and I actually made myself a generic like shepherd's pie and was sitting here eating it. And then I put your guys' movie on to watch it.
No.
And I'm not joking. I literally sent a picture to Chris. I was like, this is weird. Am I generic by any means? It's like beef stew with potatoes on top. But like, it was like, what the heck, dude?
I wonder what that means.
I don't know.
Yeah, Neil was like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I didn't know you were going to have shepherd's pie today.
Me neither. It's the circle of life. I heard it moves us all. Now, you guys, now I looking at all the history and everything with this movie, it looks like you guys got funded in under 3 weeks for this movie.
No.
Date-wise, that's what it looked like.
No, Matt, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. So we kind of had like a multi-pronged fundraising approach, and one of those was crowdfunding, which ended up being kind of just a portion of our budget that we felt like we were comfortable raising through our community, but it was also really just to kind of build an audience and build a community and get people excited about what we were doing. So it was kind of like, both like, raising money for the film, but also kind of marketing, device as well, which I think went really well. We got a great following out of it. People were super engaged. So that definitely helped kind of spur momentum for us too, in terms of like going to a different other sources. Like we had a fiscal sponsorship, which was huge in getting, kind of larger sums of donations that were tax deductible. And then also just in terms of like showing financiers like, hey, we've got people who are excited about this. Like, hey, this is kind of something that's starting to happen. Are you interested in coming on board? And so that was kind of how we got there. It was still a very, very fast fundraising process, and kind of something that like we were like, as long as we get to production, if we have the money to go to production, we can, get through post, whether it's we're doing it all ourselves or whether we can also reach out to more financiers once we have a cut done and be like, okay, here's the cut, here's what we need. And so that was kind of how we were able to make things happen so fast right at the beginning.
Okay.
So, just to continue this part really quick, like I got to bring up this, and one question, and I'm delaying a little bit because I'm adding a picture to my frame. And when I do add this picture, just tell me, which one was the worst of the Pick Your Poison Party?
I'm getting close and read this real quick.
Let's see. So
I can tell you what the worst was, just in terms of like just throughout the entire process.
Sure.
There were two. There was the habanero pepper, which in the moment it was so funny. We invited our cinematographer on the stream with us, and literally me and Dana both got the habanero pepper, and we had to leave.
We had to leave the stream.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I like the fight or flight response of just like my brain being like, you're gonna die. You're gonna die.
I was not prepared. I like spicy food a lot.
Yeah.
And I really was like, how bad can it get? It's just spicy. Like
The whole entire
we
habanero
bit
in
the
one.
whole thing. And yeah, Sam, our incredible DP, is, he's wonderful and charming, but he's not an in front of the camera guy, right? So we kind of had to like drag him onto this stream, and then we abandoned him on the stream because we're like we're like eating yogurt, and like our roommate at the time was like, it's gonna be okay, you guys.
Yeah.
Then I did a spoonful of wasabi, a full spoonful of wasabi,
Oh,
and
God,
that one was
no.
it wasn't as bad like in the moment, but for 3 days, my
Oh
entire
no.
I'm not gonna get into it,
Yeah.
but it was just nothing was happening, nothing was going right.
Meanwhile,
have you guys ever seen the internet show Hot Ones, where they do the hot wings and stuff?
Oh yeah.
There's a sauce from Kansas City. It's called The Bomb. Do not, and I repeat repeat, do not ever try it. There's no point. There's nothing manly to see about, if you can do this or not. It is the most bad experience for the next 4 days of your life.
Yeah.
We did a second round of crowdfunding not that long ago to just wrap up a couple of post-production things, and Zach Tinker did all of those streams with us, and we did a revamp Pick Your Poison party, and he brought one of those blue chips. Do you guys know what we're talking about?
I know what you're talking
Challenge.
No.
And we were telling him, we were like, hey, listen, buddy, like, just don't get too excited about doing that one first.
Wait till the end.
Wait till the end, because when you do it, from experience,
You're done.
there's no coming back.
You're
You're out of the street. It's
Yeah.
like that's 3 strikes right there.
He didn't listen, guys. He did not listen. He did it within like the first 15 minutes, and he was gone. He was like sweating, and like your body has a reaction to temperature, like to spice like that.
Trauma.
Yeah.
A trauma response.
Yeah.
So I actually saw the one chip that was at the grocery store. I stopped by and I stood there for 30 seconds. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like I'm not gonna.
It's not worth it. I mean, it was all worth it. It was all worth
sure,
it.
yeah.
But I don't know. It wasn't for me. And we
Also,
made
you're
Matt,
under-
the worst thing he had to do was like a carrot, and like
That's underselling it.
I think he had a broccoli one.
Hey, I was drinking raw eggs.
You were-
I was drinking raw eggs. I tried some hot stuff. I didn't have any like painfully hot things. It was more so like really weird, upsetting textures. Like, remember I took like one shot of like, I think it was vodka, but there was mayonnaise in it too.
Vodka with the mayonnaise.
Yeah, but it was like mayonnaise like swirled around like a snake inside this cup, and just the visual alone was upsetting.
Okay, so let's jump over to some of the details of this movie, because this movie, without giving too much of away, of course, we're not going to give away endings or anything like
Twists
that.
like that,
We're not spoilers like that. We don't like doing that. Actually, we did that for the first 10 episodes, and then all our families like, this is the reason we can't listen to you guys, because you spoil everything. But Dana, your character is one of the main focus of this movie. So what did you draw from to like get into that character? Because I mean, she's going through like some, and by any means you can tell you're obviously a very bubbly, very happy kind of person.
Yeah.
And this person, believe, I didn't think you smiled ever in life,
yeah.
and now I see that you do. Like, I mean, you just look so dark and deep.
Lots of brooding.
A
Lots of brooding.
lot of brooding.
She is.
That was always my note. More brooding.
She was despondent, and let me tell you, I definitely underestimated what it was going to be like. I think with like other things I've done, the thing about it is that happens over a certain period of time, like multiple days. So you're able to bring in your character with a different energy to different scenes, right? And the truth is that this is all in the span of a couple of hours. And so in order to maintain consistency and believability, she has to maintain a pretty similar emotional experience throughout the entirety of it, right? So honestly, it was not fun towards the end, like having to maintain this kind of physical state of stress and like anxiety and upset. But I think, first of all, the scenes that I'm crying in this thing, at most of them, I was just crying because I was like, man, it's so dark and this is hard. So I just was able to like source the stress of pre-production into that. But, the thing that was biggest for me, like the thing I related to the most with this character and I was kind of able to hook onto and then kind of expand my imagination around who she was my character's relationship with her brother. She has this very close relationship with her brother. I have a very close relationship with my brother. And Kyle, he has a very close relationship with his sister. So the way that those interactions happen in the script is so authentic. And, Zach and I were able to connect in that way. And I kind of was able to build her around that kind of main line. do my best not to like trauma source when it comes to like
Sure.
really upsetting things. A lot of actors do that, and I love that for them. But I try to. This is getting a little corny and actory, but I try to
Yeah.
recreate emotional experiences in my body
Mhm.
as opposed to in my brain.
Okay.
So I'm not sourcing like when my dog died,
Yeah.
when I'm like crying about somebody else dying, just because I don't think that that's not a thing you can just keep doing.
Oh, yeah. I
Correct.
feel like also the well kind of runs dry a little bit.
Eventually.
Once you're like going back to the same emotion a bunch of times, you've almost revisited it to the point of like it not holding any weight anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That being said,
No.
Kyle had to constantly remind me to like be more sad, and I was ready to slap him across the face towards the end. He was like, "You're sad. You're sad."
so that actually
Okay.
brings me to my next question. Actually, so to me the script seems super tight, but the dialogue is also very natural. So, was there any ad
Thank you.
libbing involved?
Yeah, I mean, not extensively,
Yeah.
but I find just throughout performing myself as an actor and also through, watching others perform and stuff that I'm not like a dictator when it comes to the written word.
Mhm.
Like this is kind of the point. These are the ideas that we're trying to get across. But if somebody says like, there's a line, I don't want to spoil it, but where Molly said something and it just wrapped everything together. It wasn't a written line. It was like a punch at the end of the monologue. And I go, exactly. So I feel like, why would you ever, like, if you feel that, why would you ever go, that's not what I wrote? Like, the best thing about being a director is that you really do get to take credit for everybody else's great ideas. Everyone's coming to you and being like, what if we did this? And I'm like, that's genius. And then like later on down the road, you go, wow, you made that amazing choice. And I go, it was all the team and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the best ideas always show up on screen.
Right.
You can't be like precious about what your little, sonnet to the world is going to be.
Unless it's The Room,
Yeah.
and then no good ideas showed up. Anyway, now Kyle, talking about your acting style, I literally, I have this theory, and me and Chris have talked about this podcast for the last how many years we've been on together. Now I've noticed this pattern in every show that you play. Doesn't matter if it's SWAT, Mayans, even Dahmer, and even this movie. You always play either a smart ass or an asshole to be 100% right. So I guess this question will go to Dana and Matt. So my theory is the biggest assholes on film are the nicest guys in real life. Is that true with Kyle? And if it isn't, I got people that can get you jobs. Seriously.
Honestly, it's 100% true. Like, that's what is so funny is that like Kyle in real life to whoever Kyle ends up being on screen is so vastly different that it's like, it's fun to watch Kyle act because you're just like, this is so far from who you are. And it's like, you can see little, he has little bits of himself in everything for sure. But like, it's definitely like such a trip just to watch.
It's so unfair to him. Like he is so kind. Like what you guys are seeing, this like shining ray of sunshine, this is who he is, like truly.
Right.
And then he gets on screen and it's just like so dark and upsetting or awful, but yeah, it just keeps happening, and that theory feels correct to me, and I don't
Awesome.
know why.
get
Yeah, I
behind
was a little fearful when approaching after the movie. I was like, oh no.
He's gonna get me.
Well, you know what the truth is, guys, is that I wrote this originally to give myself a role that wasn't like villainous and evil and stuff like that. But then when I realized that I was also going to be directing it, I felt like I had to switch characters so that I wasn't acting and directing the entire movie.
Right.
And I was like, oh no, I just wrote myself another asshole.
So how did Zach and Hermione get attached to this?
That was just through the casting process,
Okay.
through Actors Access and LA Casting and their representation. And Zach, funnily enough, was the first tape that we got.
He was great.
And
He was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys saw the movie. He's like a force of like nature, right? And that his tape came across that way, and I was just like, oh my god, if this is the first tape, we are set. We are golden. And then it turns out that Zach was the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe I said it at the Panic Fest Q&A, but like really, as soon as we got Zach and Hermione on board and we saw what they were doing with the characters, we're like, half the battle's already won.
Yeah.
Like we're in such good hands that like honestly, it's all about execution from here on out.
And we love them, and they're such good sports, you know. Like there were definitely moments of this set that were like really intense, and there was like a lot of people, and there was like a real fire happening in the fireplace, and it was smoky, and they were just such incredible people to work with.
So with all these good things that like literally I've heard so many good parts of the filming process that went great for you guys. I got to ask the question. I got to be the guy that's going to flip the coin. What was the hardest part about filming this movie?
I would say definitely the hardest part, I think, was the kind of psychological aspect of it, where we're shooting for 16 days. The movie takes place all at night. So we're also living at the same location, and we have to tent the whole house to be nighttime outside. So essentially it was like living in darkness for us was a month, because we were there for a week of rehearsals as well as like another couple of days beyond our shooting window. So I think we were all in all, the three of us were up there for about 3-ish weeks. And we really didn't see the sun until the very end. And it honestly, it like changed seasons on us, like while we were shooting too. Like I remember we went up there and it was like still winter, and we were coming down the mountain and it was like springtime, and it just like was so like encapsulated like this experience that we had, where we just kind of went to our cave to make something for a month and came out as new people. So it was definitely like the resilience of getting through such a, kind of bubble scenario.
Yeah, not to mention, when he says bubble scenario, we shot this in complete isolation. Like literally the nearest population to us was 45 minutes away, and it was a federal penitentiary. There are 2 dollies in the state of Colorado. We had to lock down one of them. We had to somehow show that there was snow outside, and it's April. So we were like, are we going to have to get a snowblower? Like, also, when he says that, like, we tented the house so it would be, day for night, we're on top of a mountain. The winds are going at 40 miles per hour.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So these tentings around the house just become sails, and the house is literally getting, like, lifted off the foundation. Like,
it was, and there were days where, because the winds were so strong, no matter how much they tried to attach the tenting process, it just wasn't working. So then we'd have to 2 hours before we were supposed to start shooting be like, actually everybody go back to bed and try and get some sleep, because we're actually going to do a night shoot tonight instead of the day for night and stuff like that. So there was, I think that we definitely underestimated how challenging the day for night aspect of it was going to be. And it's kind of funny looking back, because we really felt like that was going to be better for everybody's like mental health, to try and like stick to a circadian rhythm and like sleep at nighttime and be awake during the daytime. But the truth is if there's no sunshine, you literally can't tell the difference. Your body can't tell the difference. Your brain can't tell the difference. So, looking back, I'm like, maybe we should have just done night for night the whole time. But,
because it was weird, because we did that night for night like halfway through our production schedule. So it was like we were doing the day for night, realized we had to pivot. So then we had to kind of like make a hard jump to doing night shoots, and then kind of try to wean everyone back into the day by the end, because of how turnaround times work when you're on set. And so it was definitely like it was hard on everyone. And those like, middle like slog of just getting through like the middle of the shooting window was just It was hard for everyone, but we did it. I mean,
So basically, what you're telling me is that Kyle was actually his character by the end of the shoot.
oh yeah.
Kyle
No,
had
I was-
lost so much weight by the end of it. I don't know if you see
Poor
him, but
guy.
he doesn't have a lot of weight to lose, okay? And like there's a picture of us, I don't know, it's on our Instagram, but like there's a picture of us all standing on this kind of like rock formation at the end, our whole crew. And if you zoom in on Kyle, he looks like he is about to pass away. Like his like face is like this. Like he was, I mean, both of these guys worked so hard and were under an insane amount of pressure. And by the end, like you can just see like there's just no light in Matt's eyes. Like Kyle is wasting away. But it was worth it. We're not trying to complain because we're so lucky to have done this. But it was intense. It was intense.
Well,
And the thing is,
go ahead.
it's like with most work where you have to put in that much energy in it, and when you get something so positive at the end, you gotta just be proud of the time and effort that you had to put into it.
Oh yeah, totally. And also all of the bad stuff just becomes like a good story never was like, and then everything happened according to plan. A boring story, you know what I mean? So like we're just honestly grateful the experience that we had, just because I mean I know it bonded all three of us like a family together. And on top of that, like just with the casting crew, we couldn't be more proud of how much everybody really just showed up, you know? And I think you can see that on screen of how much everyone just like really had to throw in all their chips because it was either all in or nothing.
And believe me, that's not just us seeing that on screen.
Yeah,
like literally, I have not heard one person say a bad word about this movie since I have been going through it.
When I saw it in theaters, I was really into the audience reaction. Like there are things that everyone was like, oh no, I can hear the audience gasp or just like, oh my god, and that was great. So how was your?
I was going to say, and even my wife, she's a huge Hitchcock fan, like Twilight Zone fan and stuff like that. And she loved this movie. She was like, she doesn't watch many of the movies that I get to sit down and watch. And she's like, oh, this is amazing. I want to watch it again. And it's like, you only get one time.
So, Panfest treated you guys well, I hope.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that was amazing. It's so funny you talk about the audience reaction because that was by far the most fun I've had watching this movie in like a year. Because everyone was just like so animated and so like it was almost like a live participation type of screening. And I that just made it so much like fresher and like nice instead of this thing that I've had to watch 1,000 times for sound mix to be like, do you hear a buzzing? I hear a buzzing, man.
The thing about the Panfest audiences is that everyone's so enthusiastic and they love the experience of watching a movie that every screening is really just a blast like that, no matter what it is. So I was glad to be there for you guys.
Oh, we were so happy to have you, man.
And it feels like it felt like we were in an audience full of filmmakers. You know, we were and you can feel from them like that they know what it means to do every single thing in this, right? And so, you know, we had our world premiere in Phoenix, and that was incredible, and we loved it. It felt like a lot of the audience, like there were some filmmakers, but what's cool about Phoenix is that a lot of just people from Phoenix come to this festival, right? So we had the experience of having a lot of people who just are movie lovers and like to watch movies, but aren't filmmakers. And then we got this experience at Panic Fest of having like primarily filmmakers experience it. And yeah, it is such a cool community over there. It's really special. And yeah, we weren't ready for how cool and supportive and awesome it was.
I'm glad you guys had a good time.
Next time you go to Kansas City, just ask any person which one is their movie tattoo. Like we all have movie tattoos. Like they live on me. Yeah. He has Black Phillip from Ariel. Yeah, from the
Sweet.
Witch. Like literally every single person I think in Kansas City that's part of the Panic Film Festival, like each one of us has a movie tattoo somewhere.
You know what's so funny about the witch tattoo is that was actually the original guy that we were like, oh, we should get Mark Corvin to do our score.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
like everything in my temp
tried.
tracks was like the witch, and I was like, well, why don't we just get the guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
And we
witch.
reached out to his agency, and they're like, do you have another whole budget for your movie?
So the witch is one of those
They
movies
turned us
that
on-
the witch is one of those movies that changed the way I watch movies. So like I was a horror fan before, but after the witch, something turned to me, and that's like what I've been watching for the past 5-6 years. So
Yeah. But anyway, the agency turned us on to this insanely talented composer, Steph Copeland, out of Canada.
oh cool.
And we had like a mind melt. Like this girl is the most talented girl. I swear to God, like she's on another level when it comes
Yeah.
to her musical composition.
Although
Yeah,
the
we
score
could've-
was definitely dread-inducing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's done several. She's done a lot of different series. I just pulled up all her information.
Yeah,
Wow.
she works. She works.
She works.
She recently, like right after we hired her, she won the Canadian Screen Guild Music Award. So I like to say that we hired her right before we couldn't afford her anymore.
Yeah.
We were like, we're so happy for you, and we're so happy this happened directly after you.
Yeah.
That actually, we just did a movie with Evan Marlowe, and like all the voice talent was like Jordan Peele right before he did Get Out, like Robert Englund, Sid Haig from from House of Thousand Corpse, and like literally he was like, yeah, if all of them would have been what they are now, like there's no way I could afford it. I could afford that voice talent. So that's
100%.
amazing.
So I have a really impossible question for you three. What is your favorite movie?
I knew he's going to ask this. He does it every episode. What is your favorite movie? You think? And here, how about this? Since it is a horror movie, we're going with. How about what's your favorite suspense thriller movie like in this genre? Like, what's the if you like, man, that's my.
I'm
go-to.
very sorry for asking the question. I just feel like
He does this every time. Do you know how much of a headache this question is? Like, you can't do it. Why ask this?
it's true.
The Godfather is my favorite movie, hands down.
Oh,
Great.
Actually, just
fantastic.
rewatched all three of them like last week.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. In terms of horror and thriller, I'm. It's so funny you said Fincher because I'm a massive Fincher head.
Mhm.
But I would have to say that my favorite horror movie is The Shining,
Oh,
which I know is like saying I like music. I love the Beatles.
Spider-Man from Power Man 5000 gave us that same answer last week too. So.
So Dina, what about you?
Oh man, I was hoping you were gonna go to Matt next. So I have something controversial to say.
Okay.
I am not very good at watching horror movies. I am a huge baby. Okay. There was an article I read recently that was like, there are certain types of people that just have more gullible brains, and that's why they don't enjoy horror movies. And I was like, that's a harsh way of putting it, but I love watching horror movies, but then I'm incapable of sleeping for weeks afterwards. So this has been an interesting journey for me, but I will say that the best horror movie I've ever seen, and the one that absolutely ruined me for months, was the Babadook. I love
the Babadook.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I was very interested in what you were going to say next. Don't say something like Sharknado.
No, the Babadook. I loved that movie, and I loved like all of the crazy practical effects and anything that has like a child involved in a scary movie. Like really, I get. So I don't know if you guys got the chance to see Hymns, the short that was at Panic Fest.
Chrissy Fox was it?
That one.
I think
Chrissy Fox is in it?
She
She was in it and she directed it.
Yeah.
I will have to look it up because she's been following us ever since we talked to her. So I'll have to definitely go check that out.
Matt.
And it's her daughter that's like the lead in it, and it's so scary. So that is my favorite scary movie that I will probably never watch again because it was so terrifying to me.
And
Matt?
I would say my, like, in terms of like thriller suspense, I think mine is probably Good Time.
Oh yeah,
Safi
yeah.
Brothers.
With
That
yeah,
was
Robert
just like
Pattinson, yeah.
absolute, just like anxiety-ridden roller coaster.
Yes.
And anything they do is like that. I remember
Uncut
like
Gems.
Kyle and I saw Uncut Gems together in theaters, and we like both needed like a drink after to decompress. We were just like,
Yeah.
so intense. But so I love what they're doing, and then also like Ari Aster is
Tell me
always
about
like
it.
I feel like a new kind of like great in horror today, modern great, and so I loved Hereditary, and I'm excited to see Bo.
I'm doing a midsummer birthday party for myself this
He's
year.
having a
Yeah.
birthday party for himself
Awesome.
in June, and I literally told him, I go, how are you going to get that many spotlights for your backyard, bro? Because you're going to have to make it so bright like that movie was.
But no,
Yeah.
I'm hanging out flower crowns and barriers and all that stuff. So, but yeah,
Now,
Bo is afraid I'm seeing that tonight, so I'm really excited for that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Blessed.
Now, there is one question I got to ask you guys, because one of my favorite things, and I didn't even know you guys did this until I went into deep diving. So I've actually seen the two of you before with one of my favorite little things that came out during the pandemic time, and that is Quarantine the Musical. I can't believe I totally forgot. I've seen it before, and I know I saw it before, because as soon as I saw the name, I was like, no, that can't be. Oh, and I hit play, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
So in the future, are you guys thinking about writing anything comedic like that? Because you two were absolutely amazing in that little show
Oh,
as
thank you.
well.
Totally. It sounds like such a plain answer, but like I love all different types of genres. I love working in all different types of genres. That like short came about because my friends and I just love to like sit around a guitar, start strumming, and like start singing like nonsense songs, basically like improvised lyrics and stuff like that.
This incredibly pale man, he has like no right to be as good at freestyle rapping as he is. Like, it's hysterical, and like you want to be annoyed, but you're impressed. So that's how that came about. Is there? I mean, he wrote like. I mean, him and our
Mike
friend
Overton.
Mike wrote all of that music in like 2 weeks, like crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because that was awesome. I really, I mean, the way you guys went back, I mean, because it did teach a very sad lesson about what was going on during that at the end.
Yeah, sure.
But at the same time, to make light of a dark thing is exactly what comedy is. It's, I mean, comedy has always been known to take the darkest side of things and turn it into a laugh, and that's where we get some of the greatest comedies of all time.
It's so funny. Everybody on the team after this, like basically when we were rapping, was just like, man, this was so cool. Next one's a comedy. We gotta
We just throw pies at each other.
Yeah, right.
It's just it's not just production too. Of course, production is the most intense part, but I think it's worth highlighting that Matt edited this entire film. Like, he is the editor of this film.
Like temp color, inserting temps, like audio, like
we basically did a very, very intense rough cut, and he did all of it for that rough cut. That way we could get more financing to get the rest of our post-production in. But I know that, for us, like sitting down and editing it, that you listen to like somebody screaming the same line that's very upsetting 45 times. And it does start to like, if you're a human person, your ears start to touch your shoulders start to touch your ears, because it's just intense material. It's heavy stuff. And we loved it. But yeah, there are definitely times when we're like, maybe we just lighten the next one up just a little.
Just a little bit.
just a
Maybe we
touch.
go more of like a Knives Out way.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
It's so funny
More
like, how many
lighter.
times people come up to me and go, God, that movie was disturbing. And I was like, disturbing? I don't know if I ever thought of it as disturbing, but then I kind of watched it again with fresh eyes. I was like, yeah, it's not an upper.
It's not an upper.
Yeah.
It's not something you're going to show at the next family reunion.
Right, right.
But
But my family
It's
will.
like this, many years ago. Many years ago, I threw this wonderful house party. A bunch of my friends. My friend came over, popped in a movie called Requiem for a Dream.
Oh,
Have you ever seen it? And we all watched it. The credits hit, and right when the credits hit, my friend Ricky just looks at us all, and we're all in dead silence. And he's just like, "Well, the only way we can feel better is we all kill ourselves."
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, I think we became pretty blind to how upsetting a movie it is, and then I watched it with a friend of mine. We watched it with our friends James and Michelle. It was the first time we kind of took it out of the editing room and watched it with somebody else, and they were like, "Oh my god!" And we were like,
I want to tell you, I still think it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing movie.
Thank you so much.
And I can't wait to see what comes out from you guys next. The one thing I like to say, have you guys give out there as good positive energy at the end of our episodes is, what advice do you have for filmmakers and people that are getting into film now? Because you guys literally, you made this film come from nothing into something, and you guys are getting literally so many attributes, and it's well worth it. What do you have for a filmmaker that's coming up today?
Matt, you want to take this away?
Sure. I would say that honestly, it's finding the right people to surround yourself with. I think a lot of it is in filmmaking and DIY filmmaking. It's so much of just exerting as much energy as possible and trying to figure everything out from the tiniest little thing, whether it's learning how to, do a VFX shots when you can't pay for it, or learning how to light a set because you don't have enough people, to fill out your G&E team. It's like kind of just learning how to do a little bit of everything and finding the right people around you who can supplement both your strengths and weaknesses, and understanding those in yourself too. And just knowing like what you are capable of and what the team members around you are capable of, and being able to really like kind of lean on each other is definitely a huge thing, because, we wouldn't have been able to do this individually ourselves. It was truly like being able to rely on each other, being able to, walk into a room, and when there was a problem, knew that between the three of us, it was going to get solved no matter what. And so that was that. It was just kind of staying resilient, and finding the right people to kind of build a team with.
That's a good answer.
And it was very easy to lean on Matt because he literally did every single job.
well, yeah, I think, to first of all, like, not me getting misty when Matt was saying that, because we're so lucky to be able to have found each other and work with each other. But also just having, I think for me, the big lesson was realizing nobody really knows what they're doing, and you don't need permission. You don't need permission from anybody to decide to do this. It's okay to just go into something with like the dream and like fake it till you make it, and like just come at it with confidence, even when you might not be feeling that way. And just a thing that I've been saying a lot is just like having the audacity to believe that like you are a filmmaker and you can do this, and it, as long as you just keep the momentum going, eventually you'll get there.
The train's leaving the station.
Yeah.
Either be on the train or missing the train. It's already going.
See,
I would say,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I would literally wanted to just echo, like, it's all about like problems are always going to arise. Everything can be conquered. Everything can be overcome. So you just got to break it down into steps. Like, don't think like 20 months in advance. Think, what do I have to do for this next step? Like this little bit
today.
Yeah.
See, that actually what you guys said,
Yeah.
it was literally when we started our podcast, neither one of us had an idea how to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I've worked in radio. Chris has worked in different parts of being in a band and stuff like that. And we just literally sat down and said, we're going to do it. Now, 4 years later, we're still doing it. And and it's still got a great audience. So, man, it's been really nice.
It's been awesome. Thanks for,
we're about to wrap it up. I got to tell you guys this. So this is why I've been super cheesing the whole time too. Why we were doing this podcast, I just been informed that my friend Adam just had his baby boy.
Oh, nice.
Like literally just now. I was like, why is my messenger on my Facebook going crazy? And then I got a picture. Yeah, he sent me a picture of his baby. He's like, it's a boy. And so it's like kid number 5 for you.
Wow.
Oh, that's amazing. I have a brother that literally has 13 siblings. 13. He has 13 kids. 13 kids in Wisconsin, lives right outside of Green Bay.
Wow.
And your brother has 13 kids.
13 kids. Yes, 13 of them. And I'm like, dude, seriously. And he got heat and air conditioning like last year.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
well, the not having heat thing makes sense. That's why they have so many kids.
The body.
Tiny human furnaces.
By the way, great movie, Body Heat.
Yeah, my sister has 4, and I have so much respect for parents. I really do. We have a
so
cat.
Much respect for Evelyn. Yeah, I have 2 cats and a dog. Yay!
Yeah.
I got 2 cats, 2 dogs, and 3 chickens.
Yay.
So.
Chickens.
Yeah, we had
Matt has us. We're his kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to Chris's house is like going to like a miniature petting zoo. Like I think you just need like a goat at this point.
No, they won't have it. So my wife's like, we'd have it go for you. Zoning allowed it, but she's been by getting chickens, so they hate me. They don't like me at all. But
really?
Yeah, but
I love chickens.
Well, you keep on making those Kentucky Fried Chicken jokes,
I
dude.
know,
They're not
right?
gonna like
Oh,
Yeah. Scared now.
offensive.
Or taste, I'd say.
it.
well, guys.
But hey, guys,
Yeah.
he has to get back to work.
I do.
And you guys, it was such a you said you have a lunch break, and it's been an hour.
I know they like me though over there.
Okay with it.
All right, well, thanks for so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely, and thank you for all the kind words, man.
Oh yeah, Lace was fantastic.
And I can't wait to see what you guys do next, because like there's one of the few things is for me as a movie fan. Like I used to be a manager of a Blockbuster in the 90s. I lived above a 1-screen movie theater growing up. Is finding movies that give me a surprise. And most movies don't these days. And your movie was one of the movies this year that actually like surprised me, that I was like, because usually I can catch foreshadowing. I can catch, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. But in that Hitchcock-like form is like literally how you guys wrote and made this movie happen. And I can't even say enough good words about this movie. Believe me, as soon as this gets to a public where I can actually push this out to all the public where they can go grab it from any platform, I'll push you guys to the ceiling.
Oh, thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, well,
We appreciate you guys.
all right, well, we'll see you guys later, and I'll let you know when this is up for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, good one,
Bye,
guys.
Thank you guys. Great
And
meeting, guys.
congratulations on the friend's son.
On your friend's son.
I know, right?
You're 14.
I won't get to see him more.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
All right,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
guys. Bye.
That's another episode of Movies Don't Suck and Some Do. My name is Neil.
And I'm Chris.
And remember, guys, no matter how hot the woman is that hands you a shepherd pie, maybe sometimes you just shouldn't eat it. Have a good day.